you know, last year with spring getting canceled and then the fall and now in the spring here, and now you hear your name called as a number 4 national seed. How did that feel today?
You know, just really, really proud of our whole team. Just everybody goes in to get us on the field, you know, from top to bottom. You know, to navigate through this year and be sitting in this position, you got to give a lot of people credit. And I think President Athletic Directors allowed us to do what we did through the pandemic and getting us back in, getting us started and playing in the fall. All those things just make a huge difference. And our players and coaches just the most unusual year that you couldn't even dream this year up a year ago. And then we're sitting at home during the pandemic and hadn't even got a place to work out, and you can't get out and go nowhere or anything. So, you know, just got all season robbed from you. And then summer was by no means normal because we come back in, you work out into what, groups of 6, and it went to 12, and it went to 24. So you couldn't do anything team wise. And then all the uncertainty. I think the mental battle was as very much as equal as counterpart with the physical battle of, you know, just where are you going to play? And, you know, these teams opting out across the country, and we was one of the few FCS teams that played in the fall, because most FCS teams opted out, and some of them did that by choice. Most of them did that by choice. So our guys want to play in the fall, and I think that really those games in the fall, you know, helped us get this 4 seed, but it also told you a lot about our team. You know, so I think that just bonded us and put this team together, and to navigate through all that and play in the fall. And the only team on that board that had 9 wins, really I think over 6 wins is us, you know, to play that many games. So I do think some of those things helped us for the spring, being able to play in the fall, and then being able to be ready to go in the spring and play as well as we did. So this team has gotten better, you know, every week, and we found different ways to get better. You know, I think a lot of people have had to step up because we went through a lot of, you know, different scenarios where guys would be out due to, you know, COVID testing, or be out for injury or a season-ending injury. There's always been that next man up mentality, and you know, we told the coaches when this thing first started, we always try to develop our roster, but we did that, you know, starting last fall, we developed a roster, and there's been a lot of guys, you know, have to play. You know, I go back to the Murray State game, those 4 freshmen, you know, on the back end of the defense, you know, playing in the last few drives of that game. So those guys will be ready to play. Take my hat off for the coaches, having the guys prepared, and just really excited about the opportunity to play in the playoffs and be sitting here with you know, the playoffs going on. And there's a lot of people that said, oh, there won't never be a spring football. You know, you don't play in the fall, there won't be a spring, there won't be a championship game. And hey, here we are sitting here, and it is. And you know, our guys did a really good job, I think, of, you know, doing what we talk about daily, is taking care of business of what you're in control of. There's a lot of things in this world that you're not in control of. And how we come to work every day and how they did that, navigating through all this, that's the number one thing I think that got us through it. Everybody come in and did their job and did extremely well, and excited about the playoffs, and excited about being a top 4 seed and getting to play, you know, those first 2 rounds at home and getting to open up at home with Davidson.
Just how big was the fall portion of the schedule? How big does that play into this? Getting the 4 seed, and then in particular the FIU game, how much did that matter?
I think without that you don't get a top seed, you know, with a loss in conference. I mean, I think if we run the table in conference, we may have got a seed anyway, but you know, stumping our toe in an Austin P game, I think the fall came into play, you know, very much so. So I think the win over an FBS team at FIU and playing as well as we did against Florida State, and you know, one of the 2 losses being to a Power 5 team, I think, you know, helped. So the fall schedule put us over the top, I think, of being a 4 seed. I think without that fall schedule, we would not be a top seed.
Can you speak to what it is to overcome something as big as losing your quarterback in the middle of the season and having to replace him and still be in this position?
I think it's big, and we've had that at several different positions. I mean, we're playing without really 5 or 6 starters defensively right now, and those guys that step up and play. In the quarterback position, you know, there's not many of those on your team anyway. And when you play without your starter, and you know, I take my hat off to Zion. I mean, he's played very extremely well, you know, this spring, and gotten better every week. And you know, just I was glad he made all conference. He's well deserving of that. But he's done what he had to do for his team to win. And you know, I think you know, it just speaks volumes of how well he's practiced the last few weeks.
There may have been multiple moments, but how many times were you even thinking, are we even going to be able to play football? You know, did you have those moments?
Oh, there's no doubt. You know, you come in and, you know, fall, and you just, you know, what a sort, you know, a year ago, you're a little over a year and a month that you fixing to go to your third spring training of the year, and practice, and you know, and we're gonna shut us down. You know, yeah, we'll be back next week practicing. You know, to where everybody's at home and you're locked down, and then you don't even know if you're gonna get back in summer. Then they're, you know, talking about canceling, you know, fall, and you know, so yeah, lots of doubt and uncertainty. I would say just a lot of uncertainty. You know, of, you know, hey, are we gonna play, not play? Then you're out there trying to get ready, and you're like, well, what are we doing this for? Are we even gonna get to play? But our team really stayed focused on, hey, just being the best we can be today, and don't worry about next week or whether we're playing, but hey, let's just get better. And if we're able to practice, let's get out there and get better as a team. And I think they just all bought into that. And I think that was the mentality of our team. And I think that kind of showed through the fall and stuff. But uncertainty. And then you get to the end of the fall schedule and you're going, man, we played 4 games, but it felt like we played 10 because we practiced from end of July, 1st of August, all the way to November. You know, and so you hit those end of the season kind of fatigue mentally, physically. So we got that little 7-8 week break before we come back in January, and there was still some doubt in my mind whether we play in the spring. You know, having all the FBS play in the fall, you're like, well, we should have played in the spring. I mean, if we should have played in the fall, we shouldn't be playing in the spring. So I think you know the NCAA was set to play, and I'm sitting here, I'm glad we did play. And but like I said, I think everybody tell you there's a lot of unrest and uncertainty about, you know, whether you play or not play.
I remember not was our team meeting to decide whether y'all would play.
We had a couple of those. I mean, we've been very transparent with one another, and I think that's the way you do business. I mean, that's the way I do business with my family. We talk about a lot of issues, a lot of different things, and I think, you know, conversation, information, whether you know, families aren't always going to agree, and you're going to have different sides. But I said, man, this is the way we're going to do this. We're going to put all the information, all the facts out there that we know of at this time. Okay, and we're going to digest that, and then there's going to be people on the right and the left of those opinions, okay, and there's going to be a group in the middle. And I said, at the end of the day, we're going to make a decision which way we're going to go, and we're all going to pull the rope that way. And I think this team and this staff did an excellent job of, one, communicating, okay, talking about things and being transparent and listening to different opinions on things, and then I think coming together and making that decision and then going full throttle that way. I think this, you know, the way the state of the country right now could learn a lot from our football team, because I commend the guys of making a decision the way they made it and being transparent. But at the end of the day, y'all got to come together because we're on the same team, you know. So, and like I said, you know, I don't mean you're always going to agree about issues and different things, but I think our team just really hung strong to everything that's going on in our country around us, to the pandemic and everything else. But take my hat off to them. And our staff's done an excellent job of that as well.
Grable was in here a minute ago. Can you speak to his development going from a high school quarterback, tight end, lineman,
He'd be a big old quarterback now. He would tell you, he's a very humble guy, but he was a man of many skills, I think. So he played a little bit of everything. He was a basketball player, played on a really good basketball team, you know, played quarterback. And I think you still see that in him playing tackle. I think you see the feet and the hands and a skilled athlete in the way he develops. And I'm a little biased, but I think he's got NFL potential. And to see him come in as a tight end, when you recruit him as tight end, and we see really quick his frame and how much, you know, weight we thought he could handle and things. We said, man, he'd be a really good tight end. He played tight end for a while, but he would be an unbelievably great tackle, and I think that's what he's turned into. So, you know, I think number one, him just buying into that. You know, a lot of guys that are skilled athlete in high school, yeah, you necessarily wouldn't buy into being an offensive tackle. But I think it shows you how humble he is, how open-minded he is to different ideas and change. So he bought into that, and he was kind of like a fish out of water. I think he would tell you that when he first moved to tackle. It's kind of different. We were asking him to do a lot when we put his hand on the ground, asked him to go forward and block somebody. You know, now we're asking him to pass set and do different things, and all the things that make a tackle. But he's just gotten better and better, and he's had an excellent year.
Simon Webb talked about after the Austin Peay game, he rededicated himself to being better for his team Could you talk about what you saw from him in the last 2 games?
Yeah, when you gotta be the guy, there's a lot of mental, I think, battles that goes on. You come in the spring and you got to be the guy. And I think he battled kind of with himself a little bit, with that. And he's always been a winner. You look back at his high school career, started as a freshman, played on, state championship, state playoff teams, and, he's always been a leader. So I think he dealt with some things early in the year and just continued battled through some health issues and things like that, and got better. But then after that All-Star game, and he'll be the first to tell you he did not play well. And I think he kind of took that hard. He let his team down, and I seen immediately on that Monday a difference. And I think he flipped the switch mentally. And because you see on the field, physically, he's got the gifts to be a really good quarterback. And I think mentally he flipped that switch, and you've seen a huge difference in him the last 2 weeks. And I think if he plays that way in the playoffs, I like our chances against whoever we play. I like our chances against this first round against Davidson. He plays well. I think we'll do well offensively. But I think I take my hat off to him to be able to battle through those things. So a lot of people during that time kind of hung it up and went the other direction. But he didn't. He got knocked down. He picked himself up and went back harder to work than he ever had.
In particular, it seemed like in the Murray State game there were more called runs for him. Is that something that's coming more online now that you get into the games that matter the most?
I think so. Like I said, you just worry about you don't want to injury and getting hurt. So but you want to run him when he can hurt you with his legs. But I think also those 2 weeks you really seen him throw the football. It's probably as good as he's thrown it all year, and that's one of the biggest improvements I've seen. Also, big game he did not have a good game throwing the ball, but before that he'd gotten better every week, and then after that week he has thrown the ball on the money. Just had made great decisions with the football, which he's got to do, protect the ball, but then he can hurt you with his legs for sure. So I think you will see him on the ground more.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, guys.